Hello, Kia.
Hey Juliet,
How are you?
I'm very good, yeah. Holding up with all this heat that we've been having in the UK at the moment. A little bit tired from it, got to be honest, but I do think I'm acclimatising, so.
It's nice and cool in here.
It is nice and cool in here, that is true.
Okay, so why are we here? We met 2 years ago, and 2 years and maybe 2 months. 2 years and 2 months. Would you like to tell the story? Because you tell it better than me and you've got more to it than me.
Yes, oh, I love the story of how we met. And it really is, just everything I'm about, which is intuition. Intuition is my thing. And it is so interesting how we came about, because I had just woken up at the beginning of that kind of year. So we met in April, I believe.
Yep.
So, New Year rolls around and I suddenly, as often I do, have this absolute knowing that I'm meant to do a thing. And it was that I'm meant to host a sister circle in the woods amongst the pine trees, ideally in Farnham, which is my favourite place to walk. It's just so beautiful. And so I'm just aware of this, and I've learned that, and it's a really hard one to learn this, but I've learned that I don't have to take action. It will come to me. And then when it comes to me, I do have to take action, and it will be scary and it will require me to get out of my comfort zone, but I don't have to really do anything to draw it in. And it's really hard just to sit with an idea and a knowing of what you're meant to do and just trust and not have to make phone calls and Google and stuff. So I am just trusting, and then I'm at the sauna one day and somebody walks in and is talking to somebody, and I'm not really listening, but as they leave, she says something about, where is that again? She goes, oh, at the Burrow. And I didn't even really notice it, but it was the next day that I'm just on my computer, Facebook or Instagram or something, and up comes an advert for a sweat lodge at the Burrow. And I have one of those instant knowings where it's not just, oh, that's a funny synchronicity or a coincidence. It's you're meant to go to this. And so I look at it and I'm like, sweat lodge? I don't even really read it. I just buy the ticket and I show up. And it's hilarious because I had no idea what a sweat lodge was. I 2 years
You never turn up to a sweat lodge where you've got no idea what a sweat lodge is.
Don't do that. So yeah, I just show up trusting, and it's hilarious really, because it was about just under 2 years ago that I decided to start a shamanic year-long initiation. And so I did not know that this was actually a shamanic practice, the whole death and rebirth of going into sweat lodge. It's for those that are listening that don't know what a sweat lodge is, that are like I was when I signed up and bought a ticket. It is this amazing kind of like structure that is made in nature. There are all of these hot stones in the middle that make it really hot. It's pitch black, and you go in and you're in there for sometimes we're in there a few hours, right?
3 hours, yeah.
3 hours. And so I arrive and meet you. I remember just sort of like half listening to the instructions, and as we're going inside, I'm like, so you just said there's 4 rounds, so in about 30 minutes we're back out again? And you're like, no, there are these rounds, but you stay in the whole time. As I'm crawling on my hands and knees going, what's Kia doing today? But this is the wonderful thing about being intuitively led. You quite often don't get all the information because you trust, and then you just have to deal with the discomfort at the time. So you haven't got the time for your brain to kind of freak out. And then it was as we were, coming out, and I realised I spent this day in the woods in Farnham amongst the pine trees, that it drops in, oh my gosh, could this be a place that I could do my sister circles? And so I just said to you, as you probably remember, I've got this calling to be able to do this thing. Is that the kind of thing that I could potentially do here? And thank goodness you were like, please, will you do that? I'm like, wow, what a wonderful invitation. Like, now I feel like I have to. Because you've asked me so nicely. Like,
I have no choice.
Yeah. So, that's how we met, wasn't it?
Yeah. And going right back to the beginning of what you were just saying, my mind, first of all, I was thinking, oh, you just surrender. And then I was thinking, oh, you manifest. And then I was thinking about what my best friend would call generative, like you, and I'm not fully on board with that term. I think it means you kind of generate stuff, and all 3 of those are true for what you said happened when you realize that you don't have to make something happen, you just sit and wait.
Yeah.
But also it's so intuitive, and it's absolutely following your intuition. It's your intuition tells you you need to hold this sister circle in the forest, and you intuitively know it.
Yeah.
No one's told you. You've not read it somewhere. You've not thought, I want to do this thing because of whatever aim. Your intuition tells you. And I know you work intuitively. Tell me how you perceive intuition and how you bring that into your work.
So I feel like your intuition is a mechanism that your physiology uses so that your soul can give you guidance. So I am all about supporting women to live their soul-led life. And so much of that is having to get rid of all this conditioning that we've got from society, which is we've got to use the brain and strategize and plan and hustle and all that kind of thing. And instead it is exactly all the things that you just said. It's surrender, it's follow the little thread of curiosity. When you do, you have to be brave. It was brave to crawl on my hands and knees into a sweat lodge when you literally are just getting the MO as to what you're actually about to do as you're going in. And then the hardest thing out of all of it was walking up to you and saying, hi, I've got this vision of doing this thing and this environment feels like it would be perfect. That was so hard. And I've just learned that when you get an idea that frightens you and excites you, it's quite often a this way sign. So how I use it in my work is that I'm an artist and I'm an intuitive mentor. So what that means is that I create lots of spaces for women to connect with their art and create things that just come from their soul rather than from their mind. And then I also do a lot of intuitive mentoring where people come to me going, sort of maybe wanting a little bit of how I behave and how I experience the world, because I'm very candid and I share lots of these kind of stories on my social media. And I get lots of people saying, I kind of want to do what you're doing, but my brain's got this story that I'm not allowed to, or it's not a good idea, or my family will think I'm mad if I leave my job and I do what my heart is guiding me towards. And so then we work together through lots of different intuitive ways, just whatever flows in the sessions. So we'll have a little bit of kind of just talking back and forth, me listening, sharing my experience, my perspective. So someone's got a place to land. It's not therapy, it's not counselling, that is not what I do. Don't have those qualifications. But it's just like, if you want a one-to-one, come speak to me. And then the intuitive gifts start flicking off. So sometimes it will be that I will fully channel for them. Sometimes, quite often, I will lead them into their inner voice, so that I can ask the questions they want to ask, their inner voice and their soul. I can do that through them, so I can get them into that state where their soul can speak through them. So that's called inner voice facilitation. Sometimes we bring out the tarot. I teach tarot. I feel like I'm a different sort of tarot teacher, because I'm not into, I know everything, I'm going to tap the cards for the camera, and I hate all of that. I'm not interested in fortune telling either. Obviously, from my story already, it's just following those little threads of curiosity and not trying to kind of figure out where it's taking you. But for women that want to, or men, but I mostly work with women that really want to live a soul-led life, you need to have tools where you can hear your intuition. And I find that tarot cards are a fantastic, easy way for people to be able to just go, okay, it's just a set of patterns and symbols and images. As children, we're used to that in education, like recognizing patterns, images, symbols, how you feel when you look at something. So I find that really, really helpful for people to be able to tap into intuition and get that sense of, I feel like this is what I'm being guided towards. I feel like this is the action. Can I just get some confirmation? Or what do I need to know about this? That's how intuition works through lots of things that I do.
And it all started with art.
It did. Yeah, it did.
What happened before the art? You weren't doing art.
No, before art, I was a very different human being, I suppose. I was the good girl. So I brought up being raised to be the good girl, to look out for everybody, to look after everybody. Very much, I had a very codependent relationship with my beautiful, wonderful mum. But, she was born into a world, an extremely frightened person, raised by an extremely, extremely frightened mother. And so I then became someone that kind of looked after her, made her want to be alive, and brought her out of depression and stuff. But, and then it was also the good girl, always tried to do the right thing. So I ended up listening to my parents about what subjects I should take at school. It didn't help that my art teacher, when I chose art at GCSE, came up and found me and said, oh, I've just got the list of the girls that have chosen art for GCSE. And I was really surprised to see your name on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've done something wrong. The good girl, oh, I've been caught, what have I done? And she's like, because you can't draw. So, and then she just turned on a heel and said, so choose something else. And was gone. Awful. So destructive, because of course, what did I do? I experienced intense shame of, I've been told by somebody in authority in the world of creativity that I'm not good enough, and that I should have known better, shouldn't have put myself forward for this. And so I literally shut that door on creativity, put all the locks on. I'm like, I'm never opening that door again. And then art came about because I was so miserable doing what my parents thought I should do and doing the sensible route. So I took a degree doing what they thought that I should do, and I hated it and I knew I'd never use it. And then I fell into doing administration, basically. I worked in the NHS. Started out working in the government, opening the letters to the Prime Minister, which was actually really fun because people...
I did not know this. So gossipy, like.
yeah, and it's just like all these people were campaigning for stuff that they were really passionate about. There was lots of alternative health and remedies, and people saying like, I have healed my child from cancer because I followed all this different advice, and so please will you do something about getting my book on this experience into people's hands? And I'm like ordering the book, like this is incredible. So I did enjoy that aspect, but the administration, I'm dyslexic, I'm expressive and creative and exuberant. The last thing I have is an iota of attention to detail. So doing administration was ridiculous, but I kept getting offered more money, better positions. I was temping, so you'd finish a contract with the government, then I'd be into the NHS and do something there. And then I also was engaged at 21 and then decided, as not just the good girl, but now the good wife, that I would pay for everything whilst he was setting up his own business, and I would look after, so that's another person I would look after. So yeah, it was the natural interruption of having children then when I got to 27. Well, actually it was a bit further on when I had my second child at 30. I realised I had him in preschool for just a couple of mornings a week and my eldest at school. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, I've actually got a little bit of time to myself, because I was a full-time mum since I had children. And I felt like I needed to go back to work. But I knew at that point I'd been diagnosed with all sorts of health conditions from stress and childhood trauma. So at that point it's autoimmune disease, which is Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So my thyroid had packed up, totally crashed adrenals. So, my body does not produce, well, I don't know if it does now because I've done so much healing on myself and I feel a lot better. But at the time, did not produce any hormones, literally. They were completely squished, and I was told by functional doctors and regular doctors, they will never replenish themselves. You've just got to look after yourself. But you've done a lot of damage by keeping going and doing work that you hate and looking after everybody. And then I was experiencing chronic pain where I actually had 9 months where I couldn't walk. I was totally bedridden, and my GP even said, this is your life now, you've just got to accept it and stop asking us to run tests and figure out what the cause is. So art came as a result of just getting into a total corner, total dark night of the soul of, I literally can't do anything. I'm literally in so much pain, blah, blah, blah. And so a friend just advised me to pick up a paintbrush, basically. We went to a local community centre and we were doing a little, we were doing something with our kids there. And there was an open exhibition, and I looked at all the art on the walls, and I had this moment of standing in front of all these paintings and going, that's in me. I know I can make art like that. Like that's what I think I'm supposed to be doing. And then of course, just the way that spirit works with just giving you little breadcrumbs. And my friend picks up a brochure and she sees my response to the art. And she goes, Kia, there's a messy drawing class here. And it's exactly at the time where your youngest is at preschool. You need to sign up. And it took me, that was months ahead. And it took me months. It took me till an hour before the first session to finally go, I'm going to allow myself to do this, because that felt, you know, totally unreachable. Because I'm the good girl who looks after everybody. I couldn't do something for me. Kids need school shoes, nappies. So, yeah, art came along then.
And the rest is history.
Basically, yeah, because life took on this incredible momentum at that point. I joined this art class. We were making different things every single week. And I was asking myself, you know, is there like a style here? What is my identity? Like, would all these things we're doing, weaving one week, printing another week, drawing another week, like, is there anything that matches this? And I kept saying to friends, I feel like I want a website, because I, you know, not techie, and, you know, Instagram and stuff was really early back then. We're talking 2016-ish. I certainly wasn't on it. My friends were, but I wasn't on it. And friends were saying, you just need to get on Instagram, Kia. It's all visual. You'll be able to take photos of all your art, put it on there. So I got on there with that intention. But when I got on there, the algorithm starts showing me all these artists that are making an amazing quality of life for themselves by simply documenting their process of painting and then selling their paintings to their community that they're, you know, creating on these social media platforms. And so I decided to set myself a goal. And I was like, right, I will give myself 1 year to learn how they're doing that. And if I can make £1 selling art or selling something creative after this whole year, then that will be a sign that I can grow this and that I'm good enough. And literally within just a couple of weeks, this art class was doing an open exhibition, same as before. I put my work in, priced it high, and it sold. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm documenting everything on Instagram. I'm putting the kids to bed and getting straight onto my laptop and learning about all the stuff that was relevant at the time with social media. So hashtags and, you know, creating value, and is it entertainment or inspiration or teaching that you're giving as value, learning all the things. And yeah, within a year, I had 10,000 followers, was selling a piece of art every week. But that's when I woke up and I couldn't walk.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, but this is the wonderful thing about life. It's giving you the breadcrumbs, and it will also give you the really hard lessons, the stuff that you've come here to overcome. That lesson, in short, was you have absolutely you've abandoned yourself. You've full of self-betrayal because you're looking after everybody else. And this is where you've got to learn to have boundaries and speak up and demand that you get tests and demand that people take you seriously. And it took me 9 months of just accepting this was my life. Well, I wasn't accepting it was my life, but just accepting that I'm not allowed tests, to finally go in and be like, right, we need to take this seriously. And then very quickly after I found my voice, the perfect person who was a specialist in chronic pelvic pain, only 2 in the country, was based in Eastleigh, 45 minutes from me. I found her, and then she cost a lot of money because she was private. But it just so happened the same month we had to find £440 a month to see her. My husband at the time, ex-husband now, his student loan got paid off, and we were paying £460 a month for that. So it's like, oh, there's the money. So everything just drops where you need it, but you do have to surrender and accept that you're going to get the 50-50, the hard, and you're going to get the magic.
Because the art was your recovery.
Yes. Yeah.
But then it became your work.
Yeah.
And now that's led into other things. So the art is really, really different from the women's circle that you mentioned, which you haven't even got to yet.
Yeah.
In this story.
Yeah.
And I know in between there's been some shamanic learning.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this arm of your offerings, which is art on a very mainstream level, I think.
Yes.
And then you've got your intuitive work, which is sometimes with art but often without,
mm-hmm.
which is a little bit more, you know, alternative in a way, because you've got to have some belief in intuition.
True.
Which we all do believe in, I think, but a bit more of a depth.
Yes.
And then you've got the tarot, which is another thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got these women's circles that you have run in the forest.
Yes.
Since
Yeah, and it's only very recently that I've suddenly understood. I've been literally here going, I can kind of divide everything up into two. I can go, so over here we've got mindset, like self-coaching. We do a lot of that inside my online community. Well, that's where it started, with a bit of spirituality. But then over here we've got the art, and and so everything was kind of like being sort of divided up. And I was like, what is the thing? There is going to be a thing that brings all this together. And it's actually only very recently that I have had, again, this is another piece of evidence of how your intuition will speak to you in the most discreet, subtle of ways. You've got to really, really be committed to setting an intention that I'm going to notice what I notice, and I'm going to follow what I feel called to follow. So funny enough, back to the shamanic story. So I am 2 years ago just starting my year-long shamanic initiation. So that means that I'm going up to Ludlow, to Ruth Cato and her beautiful retreat house, to sit in circle with the same group of 10 women for a year. So we meet every other month. So that's something like 6 weekends a month. And at the end of it, you have this initiation where you go into the wilderness and you find out when you get there what your initiation is. It could be all sorts. And on week one of that, I'm sat in circle and I look across at one of the other ladies, and we're busily taking notes, on everything that we're learning. Because basically the first year isn't actually shamanic toolkit kind of things. It's stepping into yourself. It's doing your inner work. It's inner child work. It's deep depth shamanism. It is, lots of death and rebirth, and really you're facing all your shadows. And so we're taking notes, and then I look over and this lady just pulls out a sticker book, but it's like a sticker book for adults with the most incredible, like esoteric themed stickers. I'm looking at it thinking, are we allowed to do that? We can have stickers. And she's just like pulling one out and sticking it there and making her journal look so pretty.
So tactile.
So tactile. And it's so like, a big thing that I do again in my online community is we study the artist's way every couple of years. So we've just started again now.
What's the artist's way?
Oh, so the artist's way, yes, of course. So that is a book by Julia Cameron, and it's a 12-week program to your spiritual creativity. So obviously it makes total sense that I would be attracted to it, and that I would then be like, oh, ladies, this is what we need to do. I'm bringing this in. We're going to do this together like a book club. And so, why am I telling you that? I've lost my train of thought. Can you bring me back? Sticker book. Yeah. So the artist's way is all about connecting you with your inner child, because in Julia Cameron's view, your inner artist is a child. So you've got to let them step forward and be free. And it is so magical how me doing that with stickers has led to how I figured out how to put all these things that I do into one thing. So I see these stickers, and I get my friend then buys me a sticker book, which is wonderful. But it was like only very recently that suddenly I had this enormous urge that I just needed loads of stickers. And I wanted to put them all over the fronts of my journals and the back of I've got this beautiful sketchbook that I write I have written all the meanings to every single tarot card in them, reversed, upright, all the archetypes and the energies and the elements and everything. And then I've covered those with stickers recently. And it's interesting that when I did that, I put that on Instagram and that went viral. And it's because of the energy in it. It's because it felt like utter magic to my inner 5-year-old. And it was also a permission thing of like growing up as a child, I'd never be allowed to use like 25 stickers in one go. Especially there were expensive stickers in there, the ones that are £1 or £2 just for one, but they all went on there. And it was this incredible flow state where I knew that I was creating magic with this thing. And I think it has a resonance. I don't really quite understand how these things work, but in putting that out to the world, people then have like massively connected with it. So then it became really obvious when that went viral. I was like, gosh, everybody wants more of this. All I want to do right now, my kind of little inner curiosity, is leading me towards, I've started junk journaling, but then that turned into actually, it's just me doing my spiritual inner work through visual journaling.
What's junk journaling?
So junk journaling is kind of a bit of a viral trend at the moment. So that is really where throughout your day or your week, you're gathering just paraphernalia. So it's receipts, it's maybe a page out of a newspaper, you go and eat in a restaurant and they give you a lovely piece of like greaseproof paper that's printed in a basket with, I don't know, fries or something, and you pull a bit of that out before it gets greasy. You're literally just gathering bits all throughout the week.
It's scrapbooking.
It's another word is scrapbooking. So I was a scrapbooker. I won't go into that story, but I did do that about 20 years ago. But that was very much the American way of documenting your photographs and adding embellishments. So to me, this is the confusing thing with visual journaling. There are lots of different terms and lots of people have different meanings as depending on where you are in the world as to what you think they are. So junk journaling is where I began with picking up paraphernalia, but then all of a sudden, all of the rituals that I do to do my inner work and to make sure that I'm not just learning all this stuff, but I'm actually living it. And also that all of these intuitive signs that I'm getting, I am noting them down and I'm connecting the dots and I'm seeing where it's leading me. So then I started getting these journals and thinking, right, when it's maybe a new moon or a full moon, there's different rituals I do for each one to just connect with which house is the moon moving through. So therefore, what is it showing me that the energy is here to help me with? So that requires a bit of work, but it's not boring because I do it visually with my visual journal. So it's the stickers and the washi tape comes out and I'm printing stuff and I'm cutting it out and I'm highlighting bits and sticking it all in. So I might do that one day and then I might have an incredible dream that night. And one thing that I teach in my community is dream translation, because there's so much guidance in your dreams. So the next day I might be visually journaling on a dream and going through all the prompts and figuring out what it's trying to tell me. Another day, I might have a bunch of signs through animals, insects, overheard conversations or lyrics from a song. So I want to get that down, but I don't want to just put it in the notes in my phone. You know, that would always be the usual way that I would do things. Now it's like pull out the journal and the stickers and things.
Well, we process things so differently. I had this last weekend. When I run a workshop, I'll say to people, leave your phones, please, in the car.
Yes.
For so many different reasons.
Yeah.
But I didn't say it. And then I had sent out on the information before to bring a notebook and a pen, but some people had forgotten, and some people had chosen not to. They'd chosen to use their phone because I hadn't said, don't bring your phone. And we don't process, it doesn't work through our body in the same way when we are using the phone. And the writing, great, but even better, because also our memory works so differently and our brain processes so differently when we seeing things.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Totally. Julia Cameron talks about how she has a lot of journaling through her program, and it's because we can lie to ourselves less when we're doing pen to paper. Apparently, there is some kind of research about that. And I just find that with art, most of us want to be doing more creative things, but we tend to think in terms of, oh, well, I've got to do an art course, or I've got to join a pottery course, or whatever it might be. And then it becomes this big thing that we're asking of our creative expression. You've got to create a final product that I'm proud of and that I enjoy. The money that I've spent on my materials has got to pay off because, I'm buying all this paint or whatever it might be. And what I find with the visual journaling is that, I can do the whole art thing. I can do my paintings. Great. And I've learned how to be able to buy the good paints and allow yourself to use them, because that's the only way you're going to create art that you love. You've got to practice and turn up and spend the money. And then I find that with the junk journaling, I can treat myself to stickers and washi tape and all these different things that just absolutely light me up. But every time I show up and I start adorning my pages in a beautiful way, there is no expectation that it's got to look good. I am doing it genuinely for the process, genuinely because it lights me up and it fills me with joy. And I'm like, yes, I'm doing something creative. And I only need to spend 10 minutes on it. And I just feel like, oh, I've got that creative release. And therefore creativity is woven throughout my days and my weeks and my months, rather than I'm on a 6-week course and then I haven't got time anymore. And I'm not really, I like so many people talk about abandoning their art and they're not doing it. And I feel like, oh, this is just absolute magic. Not only is it answered the bit we were talking about before, where finally I'm like, there's your mindset and your spirituality and your rituals, and here's your art, and we pull it all together, and we bring in tarot. We do tarot readings and oracle readings and different spreads and things as part of our visual journaling in this community, and it's just all together. I found the soup that houses it all.
Yeah, and I really hear that for you it's about the process, and maybe you and I have spoken about Arno Stern and my
Yes.
children's last school where they used the Arno Stern method, and his method for art is about it. It's purely about the process. So there's lots of detail to it, but in the studio there's to be no mention of the artwork. People can talk, but no mention of the art. And then when it's completed, the art goes in the student's folder. The student has their own folder that's only for them, and the art can only be looked at by the student. No one else is to look through the folder. No one else is to ever comment on it. But I'm sure if you go back and look at the things that you've made, the feelings come back from the process.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful when art stops being about the product or for somebody else or for the critique, and it's for the process and what you're doing in the moment. And there's nothing better than a stationery shop.
Right.
Oh.
I know. And now there's like
My
a
favourite.
reason. Yeah. There's a reason to go and treat yourself to the things that your inner 5-year-old is being called towards and feels exciting. You can actually do something with it rather than buying something or just thinking about the fact that you wish you could have bought it. But what would you do with, I bought pink and lilac checkerboard washi tape the other day. My inner 5-year-old, I'm my inner teenager, you know, I've still got my Van checkerboard shoes on at 45. It's like, oh my gosh, that pattern and the colours speak to me. And it's like, then I got straight home, wrapped one of my journals in it. And it's like, yeah, it is very satisfying. You're getting to honour your inner creative and do it in a way that is serving you because you're doing your inner work. You're wondering, what is the moon helping me with right now? Or what is my dream saying? Or what did this tarot reading that I did? Like, let's actually not just do it, go on with our day and forget about it. Let's just make a quick note and make it pretty. Why not?
And you've mentioned working with women a lot.
Yes. I think that's because I am so connected to that past self that sat in a grey, dreary office in the NHS. I remember having to like plane myself to be able to get these interviews to get a job. When I first moved to London, I had like massive bleach streaks at the front of my hair, and I don't know, I had this amazing guy in a Shoreditch hairdressers do this very, very cool haircut for a 20-year-old, and then I found that I wasn't getting the interviews for these jobs that were the sensible option. And everybody was saying, you just seem really creative. It kind of doesn't feel like this would be your kind of vibe. And so I remember my mum saying, you've got to plain Jane yourself to be able to get these interviews. So it was like, okay, completely brown hair, normal clothes. And so I'm so connected to the thought of, like, it literally breaks my heart. This is where my passion is, my purpose is. It's what breaks your heart. That's like an amazing little tool with, if you want to know where your purpose might be trying to guide you, think of what breaks your heart. And it breaks my heart that there are women right now in these offices wearing dreary clothes going, I know I'm meant to do something exciting. I feel like I'm meant to get up in the morning and enjoy my life and be excited about my day. I feel like that's how this was meant to work, but they're trapped, because I was trapped too. You know, we got to pay our bills, and it's really, really scary to leave all of that. Although when I chose to, the opportunities arrived, of course, in mystical ways. So yeah, that's why I think I work with women. It is like, I'm here to help her.
You chose to, but you also accepted what was put in front of you.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes I think in people there's a resistance to accept that and take that leap.
Totally. That is a huge thing, isn't it? Huge. Yeah, you know, just saying, like, to everyone around me, family, friends, like, I actually can't do this anymore. I'm leaving London, I'm leaving my job, and I felt the call to move back to Farnham because that's where I'd done my degree. And I thought I was here to like get to London and get to the city. Got there, I'm like, my nervous system is completely overworked. This is not good for me. My nervous system does not like London, actually. And I kept finding myself, it was after and again, this is just the intuitive way of the guidance that comes through. I realised that I had driven to Farnham every week for about 4 or 5 weeks. Sometimes it was getting to the point where it was after work, and it was straight to French and Big Pond to just stand with my feet in the water. And then it was like, gotta get back up the M4 and the M25 and the M3 and doing them all, get back to Ealing Broadway where I was living at the time, because I've got work tomorrow. And when I did that about the 5th week in a row, I thought, oh, I think my soul is calling me home. I think I'm meant to be here. Otherwise, why am I feeling the impulse and acting on it to leave my desk on Tottenham Court Road, get the tube to Ealing Broadway, drive in the car an hour, with rush hour and all the rest of it, down to Farnham to literally just catch the end of the sun. And so that took a leap of like, I'm going to leave. And the mystical thing that came along was that I thought, what on earth can I do? I need to earn similar kind of money, but I have to drastically reduce my hours because I am on my absolute knees. And I thought about the fact that when I was at university, I did some nannying gigs with a brilliant ski company called Powderburn. So I would get posted the best one was when I got posted in Elba, an island in Italy. And I was there for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I was always working in a creche, basically, with little children. And I really, really enjoyed it. This is why I felt so passionate about being a full-time mum. That stuff does not feel boring to me. I love being in the spectrum of helping children to play, enjoy their lives, learn. And I loved all of that. So I kind of thought about that. And I don't know whether I researched nannying or whether I was just looking on Gumtree for jobs and I saw a nannying job, but I saw this nannying job where I'd be looking after somebody's children who was an air hostess. So she needed really long days in a whole bunch. So it basically meant that I did a week's work in 3 days because I was there from 6 a.m. till like 8 p.m. at night. Which is actually really difficult when you've not actually had 3 under 3. It was like a real baptism of fire. You haven't had your own children yet. You really worked in a creche as a team for like, however long every day. But that's how I was like, oh, I can do it. I'm making the same kind of money as I was making before, which was good money in London because it was these long hours. And then I quickly found a creative writing job that brought me in some extra money and gave me a thing where I'm actually doing something that I love, that I was interested in doing at the time. So even when you think, how will I leap out of this circumstance? Life has shown me that if you have the audacity to believe it's possible, it will show you the way. It will be possible.
Yeah. There's also, I think, some bravery in there though, on your part. And that should be recognised because you're giving all the credit to the universe, if you like, and a little bit to your intuition for recognising it.
True. Yeah, you do have to have courage.
And also, you came to Farnham and then you thought about it and you realised something, and you didn't just wait for Farnham to be handed to you on a silver plate.
Yeah.
You went out there and you worked out how to make that happen.
Yes, and that is hard. I don't know quite what ingredients I have. It wasn't help from outside. It was very internal. I think it's possibly because I am highly intuitive. So when I get an inner nudge, it's loud. And I suppose I'd got to the point of, I can't do this anymore. Maybe it was partly that, like, I'm desperate. What can I do?
Yeah. And that's sometimes when these changes happen, isn't it? When you're at absolute rock bottom, which has happened to you a couple of times.
It has, that wasn't just it. It was then the chronic pain when my youngest turned 4 and started school. I was just walking along one day on the school run and I went from a no pain to literally a 20 out of 10 pain, and couldn't hold myself up on my own legs because that front bit at the pelvis was like so painful, burning, searing pain, and then of course I just didn't get the care that I should have done within the NHS. But I look at every single thing like that and go, Every single challenge is there for a reason. It really is. I do not quarrel with whatever comes to my door anymore. I didn't then. I don't know what point I learned that, but I just learned it is here to teach me something. It's really, really hard, but let's just be open to where this is leading me. And it totally led me, you know, a friend, like I wasn't even given crutches or anything. A friend gave me some crutches, who just happened to have them. And so I would occasionally be able to just drive right outside the school gates, get told off by the warden person and be like, seriously, I can't get my kids any other way, and then hobble and just grit my teeth through the pain. And different friends would be like, are you doing this? Are you saying this? This is what I'd say to the GP. And I'd be like, oh, I don't know how to do any of that. Like, can you come with me and speak for me? I wish you could be there. And then I learned I had to do that. And that was the gift of not being able to walk. It's also been another gift of, I still to this day, and it is about 10 years ago, I think, since that period happened in my life. Every day, every time I go on a walk, I'm so grateful. It's a beautiful gift to have something as essential as being able to just walk in nature taken away for a while and then get it back again. And I get to live this incredible gratitude all the time of, I can't believe I get to do this again. It's incredible.
And that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, you can't be mad about that.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of our time. I have two more questions.
Okay.
One is, where can people find you? And the other is, who should I talk to next?
Ooh, I love that question. Okay, where people can find me? So you can find me, just my name basically across social media. So I'm mostly over on Instagram at Kia Cannons. So that's KIACANNONS. Or my website, same thing, kiacannons.com. And who should you speak to next? You know what? I met with an incredible woman in Farnham this week. And her name is Charlotte, and she is called Aligned Body and Stars on social media. And
Charlotte Nixon.
Yes, you know her.
She's booked. You've got to find someone else.
So she is an incredible astrologer, and yeah, I had a reading with her this week. It was amazing. Another person that pops to my mind is a lady called Natalie. She's Nata Mama on Instagram. And she does Reiki, and she actually joins forces with another friend of mine called Jo, who does sound bowls, and they do sound baths with Reiki at the same time together. So they're a great duo. But yeah, I've had Reiki with Natalie quite a few times, and she just completely grounds me. I am an air sign, so I'm quite a lot up here. And also I'm obviously intuitively channeling a lot of the time. So I find her work incredible at bringing all of that energy and grounding it into the earth for me, or with me.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is fun.